All right. Once again, welcome to This Week in CBL, the best show about a 128 team fantasy baseball league. And that is not because it's the only show about a 128 team fantasy baseball league. Joining me today is Benny, representing Oregon State and Beavers across the world, and Rutgers, representing Squids across the world at the bottom there, alongside what I believe is Jalen Brunson and a random white guy in his photo. So, putting that aside, gentlemen, how are you doing tonight? All jokes aside, it's good to have you here, right? We've been a little inconsistent with getting the CBL show going. So how are you feeling? And what's on your mind tonight? Because we don't technically have to focus on the CBL. I only promised half of the show would be on the CBL.
Just so I don't get drilled by Chuck's comments, we should stick to 100% CBL. But for not having any pitchers going today, my team actually outscored my team on Monday. And I had 3 pitchers going on Monday. So that's this week in a nutshell. That feels like the pitching's been kind of hit or miss, though, lately. I don't know if you guys have felt the same, but some of the bigger names, Casey Mize, hurt again. Thanks, Ram.
Yes.
But yeah.
Hey, he gave you more in one start than Trevor Rogers has given me at all. In fact, the other day I was facing Bryant. I was facing Bryant last week, and I was sitting there looking at this, and all I needed him to do was not give me -11, and I was having a panic attack. Because I was like, can I remove him? Can I actually just sit him down? I don't want the extra points. I don't want to risk this. This is not worth it. But they had a fucking doubleheader, so you couldn't pull anybody from it because the lineup had locked at like 1 o'clock that day. So I just had to deal with watching him go out there, and 2 batters in, he gave up like a home run to Dylan Dinkler. And I was like, oh, okay, it's over. It's all over, actually. I'm putting up 1,000 points this week just to end up getting my ass handed to me. And he kept it together to give me a very strong -0.75, so I'm proud of him. But yeah, Trevor Rogers is terrible. This has been a weird year for pitching, though, not just for the sake of the CBL, but this is definitely, and I see, Mr. Pink's chiming in here right away. Had the discussion at lunch today. Lots of historically underperformed doing well and young breakouts, while the superstars are IL are somewhat modest. I mean, yeah, it's been a weird season. I talked about this a lot. I mean, JC, who friend of the pod and was here last week, right? He loves James Wood. He'd marry James Wood if he didn't have his partner. And he thinks he's the best hitter on the planet. But James Wood statistically has been the top performer in the CBL. He's the highest scoring hitter in the CBL. And that was weird to me because he made a post about that. And I was like, that doesn't make fucking sense to me. I wouldn't believe that. But it's true. James Wood is actually and James Wood's a guy who you would kind of expect to do pretty well, but not necessarily like the top performer in the CBL good. And on the pitching side, we've seen a whole bunch of guys. I mean, Spencer Arrighetti, even up to tonight, I don't know what he was doing now because I know he started tonight. He was on a hot streak. I've talked about Jose Soriano and Davis Martin ad nauseum. But there's been a lot of, they just had Sandlin come up for the White Sox yesterday. I think he put up like a 60-point performance in his first career start. It has been a very, very weird year just trying to pick and choose where you get your guys and where you get your points from on the pitching side.
100%. I mean, even like somebody that I actually traded away just yesterday, Jake Bowers. Like, he's one of the top players in CBL. Did anyone really expect that to happen? I know I didn't.
Look, I'll give you another one that you're very closely related to, Peter. Some might even say a close friend. Liam Hicks, right? I mean, this is your guy out there who is bashing home runs at a true power hitter's rate right now, has catcher and first base eligibility. Right, and you've got him as a sophomore. He was available for everybody going into this season, and he's been destroying the ball. He's a week winner.
It's one of the perks of being really bad is that you can just kind of carry random players that like maybe he'll be okay, and then if he ends up being okay, you're good. So,
I just want to. You're talking about James Wood. He was outfielder 6 last year. So it's not like completely out of the blue, but he is 100 points ahead of everyone. I did indeed trade him for the good old steady Brian Reynolds and Robbie Ray, who has given me -130 points since I got him.
Vientos has been serviceable. He has. I remember the other day talking with Peter, just speaking on behalf of the Mets. He has. He actually has been like
and the way that like a canker sore is serviceable, or like
no, like he's actually been serviceable. You could play him. Listen, just because it's not named Brett Beatty doesn't mean you have to take it out of him. If Mark Vientos wasn't Nicaraguan and he was white, would you like him more, Peter? Does he need to change his name to Brett? Is that what it is?
I don't know what you're talking about. Brett Beatty's Dominican. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, Brett Beatty is apparently Dominican, as is Austin Wells. Right, we know that much. But I don't know. Do you? He's in the green, which is important, by the way. By the way, I'm going to post the link, Mr. Pink, if you want to join and talk with us, because we are going to bullshit a little bit. I'll try to keep it on CBL so Benny doesn't get scared of Chuck again. If you want to join us, you can come in and join and talk to us. We're more than happy to have you. I think
going to talk about the league average and the rankings. Like he just wants to be a general poller.
I don't think anybody wants to talk about the league average. I don't think nobody wants. I don't even want to talk about league median. Like I brought it up, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like this makes me feel like I put on the glasses, and I was just like, actually the league median versus the league average. I'm like, I don't want to teach a fucking math class in the CBL. This is not who I am. I'm the guy that sits there and his mother-in-law's in town. He's just here for a few minutes. And everybody's got some kind of excuse, wives and kids and mother-in-laws and things like that. I don't know. I question the dedication to the league, really. But I think if you want, because I think it's just the easiest thing to go into, and we can get it out of the way before we get the train completely off the rails, we can just talk about the top 25 and just kind of get that out of the way, because people always want to see it, and we have it available. So I might as well put that up. And it says, and jobs. None of these things that I would know anything about, neither as of this moment, not having a wife, a child, and or a job. I'm on all damn day for the law. Well, we do the CBL thing at night, buddy. We can't do it during the day. So sorry about that. Tough shit. But let's go to the top 25 since I have you guys here at least for a few minutes, and let's get to talk about that. Let's see if I can switch over to one of the little media layouts that look nice. Let's get this on the stage. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So top 25 is up here. Just to kind of gloss over this real quick before I ask you guys of opinions, you can see the bottom 5 there, the 26 through 30, all guys that have kind of jumped up in voting. So you can see some momentum for teams like Cal State, Auburn, Carleton, Mississippi State, and the Wichita State Shockers. And again, the Toreros sneaking in here at 25. Minnesota, who was talking about his points for and trying to figure out where his team lands, he's making it back onto the top 25. And looking across, of course, the top 10, very similar to what we've gotten before. We just have a little movement in terms of where the rankings are. Hawaii bouncing back into the top 10 after Benny had kind of knocked him down a peg. North Texas getting out of the top 10. Mr. Pink, South Alabama Jaguars. Part of the reason I wanted to put it on here while we have him for a few minutes, making it into the top 10. Benny himself, a top 7 team, ranking at 7, right under Cal Poly, who dropped a few spots. The Illinois Fighting, Bill Nyes at number 1. Arizona State, who I think was Benny's number 1 when we had this discussion, coming in at number 2. You see that he received 2 first-place votes, Illinois receiving 4, and Penn State receiving 1 of his own. So, again, we were short on voters this week. So if you are interested in joining the voting panel, this is absolutely something that we'd be welcome to. That goes out to mainly Mr. Pink in Rhode Island because they asked today. But anybody who's in the league, you are welcome to join the voting panel. There is not a background check. There is not a drug test. There is not even an interrogation from me. I'll even be less sarcastic to you if you really want me to. But you should join the voting panel. But moving on from that, Peter, I'll go to you first. I mean, you as a commissioner, I know you have somewhat of a biased opinion, of course, but if you were to put that aside.
I have no biased opinions. In fact, how dare you, sir? If anything, I think last week's vote was a little bit better because Rutgers was on there by mistake, but, we take those wins. Another thing that I find interesting is that, and again, completely unbiased, once again, the Big Ten has more top 25 people than a certain conference, which I won't name because they get very upset when you do, and even has one more in other received votes. So things are really just looking up in the Big Ten. Our fighting Bill Nyes, they're at number 1. Penn State is always hanging around the top 10. Love to see it. Sorry, I should say top 5, given the respect it deserves. United States Sycamores. We got Maryland Terrapins. Minnesota Golden Gophers there, and Wichita State Shockers. They've been quietly good all year, and now they're starting to get some of that respect that I think they deserve, and they should be very proud of themselves.
Yeah, you're right about the fact you've got 5 teams in your conference representing, including 3 in the top 10. That's only ellipsed overall by the Pac-12, which have 6 teams in the top 25, and also 3 in the top 10, the number 2, the number 7, and the number 9. And Cal, of course, at 13, Portland, and San Diego. So you can see the disparity in conferences right on the board here. I mean, my commissioner Luke is coming in at number 5 here with the Seton Hall Pirates. The Big East is represented there. They're also represented with Binghamton and Carleton and the others receiving votes. And Benny, you're a top 10 team, right? You've been on a pretty good streak in terms of scoring points over the last couple of weeks. What do you got to say about this top 25? Does anything stand out to you? Is there anything you want to highlight? Is there anything that you want to do the opposite of highlight, but you won't because you're too nice?
I just looking through where I kind of fell on everything. I think overall, it's semi-close to where I came in. Like just with I know I shared my top 30, so someone can fact check me, but I think generally pretty close. I will say I say it every week, but the Pac-12 is ridiculous. I mean, like for the record, for just reference, I had Oregon, who was 500 at the time, just over 500. And then I literally in between that, I played Hawaii, Portland, San Diego State, Cal, all in a row. So that was super fun for me. But I think I do, you said the big jumps and the movers. I do think that the others receiving votes, especially if more people do vote, you'll see a lot more, like a lot of teams fluctuating here and there. At the end, I know like when I look at my spread, I do this formula. I'm kind of nerdy, but when I look at like New Hampshire, I had at 28th with an overall ranking of like 30.45. And then I had a team at 30.5, a team at 30.6, a team at 32.5, a team at 32.8. Like, it's all real snug. And then 2 teams right above New Hampshire at 28.9. So it was all real snug right in there where there's a lot of, in my opinion, like it can really fluctuate. And consistently, I think your top 5 have been, like Arizona State and mine, I have them at, 1, and Illinois is 2. And then there's like a 4-point gap between the next closest team. So I think those 2 are easily your best 2 teams, just based on overall production so far. And then, yeah, they're both top 10 in points scored. They're both undefeated. They both, they're just up there. But yeah, you got some really big jumps in the like Hawaii jumped to South Alabama. Even myself, I jumped from 10 to 7, which I don't know if I had like an overly impressive week. I was like 12th in scoring. So seeing, if it went up 1 spot or 2 spots, sure, or I guess 3, whatever. But like you see 5 spots from 14 to 9. It kind of just tells you like we need a few more voters. Not that Hawaii's not deserving of it. That's not it. More so like,
oh, you're correct.
To have like that big of a fluctuation from 14 to 9 is crazy. But then like Maryland, did they lose last week?
I'll double check, but they dropped 5. Chris pointed it out here in the comments, and I wanted to bring that back up. North Texas dropped after beating number 1. North Texas handed Cal Poly, I think, their only loss on the season so far. And I would have thought that might have gotten a little more fanfare, but he dropped a few spots, which is almost insane to think, right? Because if you beat at the time the number 1 team, I'll take a look at Maryland too, but
they won by 400.
Yeah, I'm like they're 15-1 as well overall. So I do think that this week is really a facet of just the fact. We had 7 votes in. So we need to when we get things consistently for voting panel, and for the people who's listening, this is really an outcry for you. I'm not being sarcastic. We need at least 10 to 12 people like every week. And I'm not going to hold you to it. Ash is not going to turn around and message you and knock on your door and say, hey, stop flirting with your wife or your mother-in-law and come vote. we need you to do that. You've got to be able to. No, but we need a strong voter base, because what happens is when we start off with like 10 to 11, we kind of establish our diversity within voters. I was talking about this in the chat today with Mr. Pink. And when we have a diversity in voters, we have people who use their own formula like Benny and Baylor. We have people who kind of put their own spin on it, like Duke, who's got like a formula, but he's also like, will sit there and look at exactly who lost to the league average, and he'll penalize people for that, which is realistic in my opinion. I agree with that, right? But what it comes down to is that when we've had only about 7 voters, you see a fluctuation here based on who the voters who are voting rank high. And it's not really expressive of the league's opinion or even the voting panel's opinion, because like for me, just speaking out of honesty, like I don't use the formula, but I wouldn't have been able to bump North Texas down after a week where he beat the number 1. You've got to give momentum.
Yeah.
You've got to give some kind of like credence to that.
I did. Well, I mean, I had North Texas coming into the week at 16. So, I mean, and I had to move up 3 spots. But again, I think that's strictly on the fact that up until this week, like he hadn't, like I think he lost the week before that, right?
Yeah, he had kind of stumbled a little bit.
So, one thing in my rankings one thing that I put a little thing on is, I put some weight into like your winning streak. So if you're on a heater, like that's valuable. And I think part of that, I had to nerf that a little bit, because like for me, for my team specifically, like I lost to the league average in week 1, completely traded my team on Sunday of week 1, then came in week 2. And I think I'm still at the top or the second leading scorer since the start of week 2. But like I've lost 1 game since then. And it was by like 100 or like 70 points or something like that. So I'm like on a winning streak, but it bumps me up. So I was like, winning streak maybe matters a little less, because all of a sudden I'm like looking, I'm like, I'm not second ranked team. We gotta nerf this way down, type of thing. But I think there is a momentum thing, just like in real rankings, like it's the reality of it.
These are real rankings. I do want to ask you, since we're on the topic of that too, and I was having this discussion with Mr. Pink today, and I just think it's a curious one. The top scorer in the entirety of the CBL is the Illinois State Redbirds, right? And the Redbirds were early on like a consensus number 1. Right now, out of the 7 people who voted, of whom I'm not going to name because it doesn't make any sense to do so, but we've talked a little about it. None of those people gave Illinois State the top vote. None of them ranked him number 1, right? And going into the year, we had a similar situation where not everybody was necessarily ranking Illinois State number 1. However, again, Illinois State has the most points scored in the league, right? Yeah. And so isn't there an argument to say that people might be overthinking this a little bit, in the sense of like, this guy's got the most points in the league by about 400 to 500.
Have 2 losses.
Right, but realistically,
it's also in a really good conference.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
I agree with you. I think like, so I have him at 3, like, and between him and Seton Hall at 3. But I also, like, in my specific rankings, like I take conference record into effect, like, so that matters. So he's penalized in my rankings against number 1 and number 2, who are undefeated in their conference. And I mean, like Arizona State, and he's my friend, so, but also like him. But like, I'm not trying to like be a bias here, but like, he's also in a tough conference. Like he's not in both Illinois and Arizona State are also in very good conferences. So while yes, you could say that they're also undefeated in the Big Ten and the Pac-12.
Yeah, but see, just to be devil's advocate here, right? Arizona State has 17,700 points, right? And Illinois State has 20,100. So that's a difference of over 2,000.
Yeah,
so
that's not.
But you got half, right? Because of the league average thing, right? That's a difference of over 1,000 points. Maybe
that's
over
not points scored though. That's like that's
no
Fantrax calculation. Go to season stats. That's actual points scored.
Yeah, all you have to do is cut it in half. But that's what you just had cut it in half. They double it on the points for because of the fact that we have 2 matchups with league average. Gotcha. All you have to do is cut it in half. So that's what I'm saying. Let's say we looked at 20,100 to 17,700, right? That difference is 2,000 and change, like 2,400. You cut that in half, that's like 1,200, right? So we've had weeks now. We are now in week 9, right? Or are we in we're in week 9. So if you're looking at like 1,200, that basically means that this team outscores them by an average of over 100 every single week.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just an example necessarily. It's just, for me, I'm very open about the fact I'm not an algorithm guy. I am not a big math guy, which is why me talking about the median was fucking hilarious to me, because I just don't do that stuff. You know, I barely use Excel. My favorite function in Excel is Control Z, because I fuck up all the time. So it's one of those things where I think mathematically, I like looking at some of this stuff. I think it's a lot. I mean, if we're going to factor luck into these rankings, sure, but it's not Illinois State's fault that he has two losses, but he has 2,000 points more ahead of the number 2 seed. That doesn't click for me. I'm just being honest, right? Like, and Illinois I respect them. I think they're great because they're 3rd in points and they're undefeated. So, like, I can make that argument and be like, yeah, I can see why someone might turn around. And if you look at the points against, Illinois and Illinois State have had almost identical points against. Penn State has actually faced more points against than Illinois State. So I can understand why someone might take the argument and say, hey, Penn State's had it harder, right? So, but I feel like some of this stuff gets a little bit lost in the shuffle here, because look, I don't want to go out of my way to compliment Penn State, because he's been downvoting all of my Go Knicks posts, so fuck him. But realistically, his team is really good, and Illinois State, same thing. I mean, he's constantly putting up big numbers. That 2 hangs over him as if like it couldn't have happened to anybody else. You know,
what I will say, and not that I think they should be emulated, because they do kind of suck. But like, if you look at like the college football rankings, like they would Indiana would absolutely be penalized for being a 2-loss team unless they're in the SEC. So, I mean, I think that's kind of like,
no, I get it, but it's just the idea of like the best performing team doesn't get a single first place vote. Like, if this is fantasy baseball, right? We're not playing actual defense out there. Like, I'm not going out there, like, because in sport, like in college football, college baseball or something, the defense is one half of the game. So if you're scoring 9, but you're giving up 10, it's on you, right? It's not a luck thing. You're getting your ass beat, right? But here, you can only control what your team puts together, and even then, barely so. But so if your job is just to put out a team that scores points every week, and your team is scoring the most points consistently from the beginning of the year and then some, like, and most weeks you're pretty much putting up like 3rd or 4th or something like that. And shouldn't that warrant at least like one first place vote?
Yeah, but it not everyone's gonna, like you said, everyone can kind of do it in their own way, and everyone does do it in their own way. So like that's gonna happen with like Ram. Did you vote this week? I know you're a voter.
No, I didn't get to. That's why I'm asking about it, because like
I
didn't get to vote. I actually have him number 1, because for me it's a matter of like I talk about this a lot. I don't want to penalize people for luck in that case. Like, so he ran into somebody who was having the greatest time of their life, right? I mean, that's not necessarily his fault. He would, if he played the same schedule as Arizona State or even Illinois in certain cases, he could also be undefeated. So should I penalize him because he got a little unlucky? He didn't do anything wrong. His team scored. So for me, like, I've always been like one of those guys that kind of fades to the most points scored is towards my number 1 seed. It was easy last year because DBU was like thrashing everybody in points, and there was really no discussion about the number 1 seed, right? But now, I mean, and I understand the idea of, I believe in momentum in this stuff, right? And I do think it's fun to talk about and it's fun to debate it. That's why I bring it up, right? It's not that I think I'm right and I think everyone else is wrong. I'm just saying, for the sake of discussion, I would have put him number 1 because I don't necessarily think it's his fault, right? I mean, we just saw Cal Poly was rocked at number 1 for a bit, and he just took 1 loss. He didn't lose the league average, but he's down to 6 now. I get it. The voters vote that way, and it doesn't shock me, right? But that could have happened to just about anybody. They just didn't have to run into North Texas's great week, right? So it's just like kind of one of those where sometimes I feel like if there's grace to be given, the grace has to be given to somebody who is scoring the most points. And he's scoring the most points, and he has been, right? And he also has won, I think, 4 weeks in a row where he has gone 2-0 in each of those weeks. And so, I mean, like, the momentum is there too, right? Not to be like down about it. I'm not saying Arizona State and Illinois aren't deserving, right? I mean, I respect the fact that Illinois State has not lost because Illinois Fighting Illini or Illini or Bill Nyes haven't lost because they can only play who's in front of them. So I respect it. I can understand someone giving them the one, and Arizona State in a similar place. I mean, they're not in the easy conference either. Benny is correct. They're 16-0, and they're I think maybe 8th in points. I think they're 8th or 9th in points. Right, so they're doing a good job.
I think they were 7th at the start of the week, is what I had them at. But I don't know where they ended up. Like where they
it's somewhere right about there now. I mean, obviously, some of these numbers are skewed a little bit because we've gotten into this week, So, and I don't have the data from Sunday night, but even Duke. I mean, Duke's a top 10 team in terms of scoring points. They're over at 14. And here's another thing too. Peter, you talked about the fact that these rankings kind of reflect real life in a way, right? Then. Here's the argument then too. Shouldn't North Colorado Bears get a little bit more credence too because they snuck in and won last year? And here they are sitting at number 15. But if you go ahead and you look over at the standings, I do believe they're in a position where they haven't lost this year either. So they're 16-0, and they're the only ones to have won this league, right? So I don't know if people should favor that. I don't mean that in a bad way, right? I'm just saying, like, I don't look at it as wrong or right. I just think it's interesting. Like, I would think maybe clearly this guy knows how to win with the sake of his league. He did it last year. He figured it out, and he was able to be the first-time winner, and he's undefeated again right now and leading his conference, facing some generally steep competition, too, in certain fights. Not most of the weeks because the WCC is a little bit weaker, but he made it happen. I feel that should get some credence, too.
Yeah, that's fair. You're not wrong.
Hold on. I'm mathing a theory for a second because I feel like I have 1 second. You guys can continue doing your life. I'll be right back.
No, you're good. I'm gonna bring something up from the top 25 voting that I think this is from. Let me see if I have it from Baylor, but because Baylor's system is essentially if every team played every team every week, so he gets like a huge.
I have that one too. If you want me to share, I mean, I don't know if you want me to share my screen. I have it broken down.
If you want to share screen, I don't mind because I think he has Penn State as number 1. He was the Penn State number 1 vote.
Yeah.
If you want to share screen, I'll put it on. It's up to you.
I mean, I don't. No, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I got to finish.
Yeah, no, I just because I was gonna try and see if I can at least put a little bit of he is definitely in a position where he sees like Cal Poly is a stronger team. Illinois, I think, and Arizona State are towards like 5 and 6. I kind of, as much as I rag on Baylor before because I did it in a friendly way because he gave me 0% chance to win the tournament last year, and that's just a friendly rivalry thing. I enjoy the idea of if every team played every team every week, because you get a really clear idea of how good is this team, how many times would they have really lost, even if they did lose in the week. And his model speaks really well towards Penn State, Illinois State, Cal Poly, Hawaii, Illinois, Arizona State, Seton Hall, right? And of course, the only downside is that it hurts a team like Benny because you started off really slow. So, like, your early results where you were getting your asses handed to you, work against you compared to the rest of them. But it doesn't account for, like, momentum or, like, big shifts to your team like somebody like you was able to put together because it's rare, right? But overall, it's good to kind of sift, I think, out, like, who is supposed to be dominant or not.
My math equation went through, and so Illinois State, if he would have played Illinois and Arizona State every week, he would be 5 and 3 against them. So, like, you have valid points against it, but I don't, again, like, to me, like, yeah, I agree. He's not that far behind Illinois, but at the same time, like, they're also undefeated. And when you look at, like, Arizona State, I'm pretty sure they've played the murderer's row of the Pac-12. I don't know Big Ten where Illinois is, but I know it's stupid. And I know people will disagree, but like strength of schedule matter. Like I put at least a little percentage.
It does matter. I talk about this. I do think that it's a luck thing, but it's all based on luck, but it matters. I mean, and not only just the luck of within your conference, right? But it's the luck of, so you have the luck of within your conference and the luck of what conference you're in. Because I've talked about this from the beginning week. The Pac-12, I think, is the most balanced and the most difficult conference to be in right now. And so anybody in the Pac-12, the fact that they're up there, this is with kudos to you, and to Hawaii and to Cal and to Portland, who sends bad trade offers even when he's not on pain meds. So, good for you, Matt.
No, it's just because he's drunk, bro.
Yeah, hopefully you recover well from your surgery, and maybe the surgery was holding you back from good trade offers. And San Diego State, they've got it hard. They've got it really hard, right? I mean, you look around, even the ACC has Duke, and that's it, right?
And that's my biggest point to Andrew every week.
Yeah, the ACC has Duke, and that's it.
It's like
so clearly, statistically and rankings wise, they have the weakest because the Big East and the WCC have 2, and the ACC has 1. The American, I believe, has 4.
And not to mention, and again, like I get it, but the ACC, their 12th seed is 5-11. If you go to like the Big Ten,
right,
their 12th seed is Rutgers 4-12. You stink.
I would say you should probably go to the Pac because the Pac has
their 12 seeds 8-8. Their 14 seeds
and the Pac also has because the Pac has so many goddamn points scored overall there that they're still beating. Like their weeks are a lot of 1-1s because even if they're losing to somebody, they're still beating the league average. The Pac alone collectively brings up the league average. And it's the truth of the matter. No other conference is pushing it to that extent. I know we were getting some from Chris before when we're looking at the each point scored by each of the conferences, and the Pac was constantly coming in as number 1. Again, they have 6 teams up here. They are considerably the power conference, and they've got that going for them. But yeah, like I said, the WCC's got 2 teams. The Big East has got 2 teams, and one of them in the top 5, right? The WCC, at least they have the top 15. Duke's got the 14th ranking there for the ACC, and that's it. There's not even another ACC team on the others receiving votes, and both the Big East and the WCC have somebody in the others receiving votes. The SEC, I will say, has only the 1 team in Vanderbilt up here, but they've got 2 people on the door there with Mississippi State and Auburn, so they've got some little momentum there. So one could turn around and say, hey, at least Duke and Louisville, because I know Louisville is making it on, are carrying more so than the SEC, but there's clearly a conference strength thing going on here because the Big has 5 teams. The American has 4. The Big 12 has 4. The Big 12 has 4. Yes. The Pac has 6. ACC's got 1. WC has 2. Big East has 2. And the SEC has the 1. That's where we're at. This is what we're looking at. There is a power imbalance. If you've got one conference that has 2 conferences that have 1 team each in the top 20 and another one that has 6 teams in here, if you include the others receiving votes.
Yeah.
See a lot of the same areas too. I mean, San Diego and San Diego State are there. Illinois and Illinois State are there. Is there the Oregon Ducks need to make it up here and compete with you, Benny. They have Oregon State and the Oregon, we'll keep it together that way. I kind of wish some of these guys would trash talk too. I always encourage people to do so. I always tell them, I see Binghamton, I think is John and it's Luke's friend. And I always tell him, come on and trash talk Luke. It's okay. Say bad things about the commissioner. It's okay. You're on the top 25. You're allowed to do so. But some of these guys are just too nice. That's the problem. That's the issue that I'd be having over here. Ed wants to see your spreadsheet, by the way. It sounds like flirting, but he really just wants to see your spreadsheet.
Oh, it's Ed. It's definitely flirting.
Yeah. Ed's a bit of a flirt. I don't know if people know that.
How do I do this?
What do you want to share your screen?
I don't know. Do you want to see my spreadsheet?
If you'd like to put your spreadsheet up and walk us through it so it makes sense to the layman like me who can't add 1 + 1, yeah. If you share a screen, I'll put it up for you. You just have to offer to share your screen. Yep. All right, there we go. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Now it's on my screen.
All right.
So why don't you walk us through a little bit here? Because I see some stuff on here. I see eye test as well, which is an interesting one.
Yeah, that's just my little way of auto-correcting a few rankings that I think like need to be like I would personally adjust. I look at like injuries, I look at some of those things, and kind of like you can see I put Seton Hall up. I actually moved Illinois State down. But I know Seton Hall, has the Garrett Crochet injury. I kind of just look through that stuff. But I really put a lot of weight. I mean, you can see, hold on, here you go. You can see like how I weight things. I put a lot of weight into points scored, and then I kind of just like divvy out the rest of the points around it. But I do the same thing as Baylor, where you can sort, where I have my all play record, Penn State, Illinois State, Cal Poly, Hawaii. But then like, obviously I have strength of schedule, and into this goes your points against, but then I also account for your wins. Like if you have a bad loss, I also like in my formula on a different sheet, I also, calculate that into there. And then it kind of spits out. So like Hawaii doesn't have a bad loss, really. They've lost to the number 1 and the number 7 team, and I forgot who else they lost to. But you can kind of see around where, conference record rank, winning streak, all that good stuff. And that's what kind of brings me to the, overall ranking. And you can see though, like when I sit and I talk to Andrew, like when he's talking about being 15th, it's like, yeah, but you're really, you could easily be 17th. You could also easily be 12th, because there's really not that big of a spread in overall points. And for him, like when he bitches and moans, because that's what he's good at, like he's 74th overall strength of schedule, but he's not top 10 in any category. So how is he going to ever be a top 10 ranked team? And like, again, this is just my way of doing it, but he has a bad loss to Miami, and then he's got another loss to Louisville. But again, like he's not ranked top 10 in anything. Whereas Delaware, Chuck's on a, winning streak, and he's, I think he's only got 2. What's he got? 1 loss, I think. Whatever it shakes out.
Yeah. But I mean, you can even see right there, just looking at that, right? He's 7 spots below Duke in terms of scoring points.
Yeah.
You could easily assess that to the fact that he's just had more luck than Duke has had.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so that's what there's also some tough, like the difficulty in these kind of things is that, and I appreciate that you sharing this, by the way. I think it's really cool for anyone who likes Excel. Like if Luke was here and not with his hot girlfriend, he would be really appreciating this right now because he loves spreadsheets. No,
but when I go to auto adjust, I have Duke ranked higher than Delaware because, again, luck. I mean, you're right. There is that luck ranking part of it. And North Texas, is ranked 8th in points and sneaks in at 13. But again, lost more recently than these guys, and that makes a difference, even if it's only 5% of my weight. But yeah, I don't know. It's not a perfect formula, but it's kind of, Northern Colorado, 105 strength of schedule.
Can I ask you about one team on here just because?
Yeah.
So I look down on the eye tests, and Vanderbilt comes in around 20 for you, but I see that on the eye test you have them ranked out of the top 25 at 29, right? They're the only team for the SEC that was in the top 25. And I can imagine that some people feel like that's because their conference is a little weaker. I'm looking at that strength of schedule ranking, and it speaks to me as to maybe that's why you've brought them down a little bit. Or
I think just overall, I also take into account, so like for them, I got to remember, sorry, I sometimes when I fill these out, I'm in just the zone for the eye test because I do that all manually for the most part. But I'm just pulling up their team real quick here.
Yeah, because I see some teams under there. Like you have UTSA, you have San Diego, you have San Diego State, Cal, all ahead of them. They're ranking lower on your spreadsheet, but you have them ahead of Vanderbilt if you were doing the rankings yourself. So I just thought that was an interesting one because while I know he's faced a really bad strength of schedule, like I see it's 123rd, so he's basically been cakewalking. I see your point, right? He's also top 20 in points scored.
Yeah, I looked at Vanderbilt, and when I was looking through his stuff, it was, he's got a ton of people on IR. So I don't think it's really hard because there's a lot. So again, it's not a perfect formula. When I go through and count, Like I basically just like a deduct a point. I don't look at the names. I just say, okay, this guy's got X amount of players, MLB players. If they have a green flag next to them, I don't count them. But MLB players on IR. So like obviously like their team is at a disadvantage right now. So I do rank them down because I don't expect them to be as good. And that's just kind of my way of adjusting it into the eye test. And again, like you can see I don't deviate too far from it, other than Vanderbilt was a big one. There's another one that I changed drastically. I don't know where it was. Not Auburn. Colorado. Like I think his team, he doesn't have as many players hurt. And again, like he's in a Big 12 conference that is just a little better. But again, his schedule has stunk and he hasn't scored as many points. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a flawed theory to it. I don't know if it's perfect. And maybe, you've opened my eyes a little bit to like, hey, yeah, Vanderbilt probably was a little off. But I also go through and manually rank 128 teams. So I generally
I'm not saying anything's wrong here for what it's worth. I just want to pick your brain on like the logic here. Because like I like to understand how people put this together. Because for me, this is still really clean and cool. Like you've got a lot here. Obviously, just looking at this alone, right? You've got strength of schedule, total points. You're ranking in the winning streak. You're ranking in their conference, which I think is important because it's exactly what we were talking about, right? Is it somebody's fault necessarily that they're in a really tough conference, right? Yeah. It's not necessarily. And
so like that's where I look at Duke. Like, right, he's leading his conference. It's a bad conference. But he also has 2 losses in his conference. So therefore, like in this world, he gets the same credit as Illinois State does, as I do, as Penn State does for being in good conferences and 2 losses. Like he shouldn't, in my opinion, like he's not going to get like Northern Colorado has a 1, but that's also because they're undefeated. Like if they go to a loss, that changes it, that adjusts it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I think it's good. I think it's
wild.
And now I have to ask you for fun. Can you go to the end of it, like all the way at the bottom, and like, who's? No, I'm not even. This isn't a me messing with Peter thing.
This is the funniest part to me. Is we were talking about like, look at this. You have these teams here, right? And then you have like it's like a whole ass 5-point gap, and when you go up, I always get a good chuckle out of this part. And then you go up here, how far, like 5 points.
Right, yeah. Like these are like, literally. So
what are we doing?
That's like 8 spots, right?
Yeah.
And then these guys are just.
Yeah. But
so these are the teams that are fighting relegation right now at the bottom here, right?
Would you look at like North Central, like 32nd ranked schedule?
So this is what I mean. I want something like that. Like give me a schedule like that. You've got North Central is down there with the 32nd easiest schedule.
That's the hardest. 32nd hardest.
That's the hardest, right? All right. So then I want the Musketeers.
Who's got the easiest schedule? North Carolina, Alabama, West Virginia, Georgia Southern.
Yes, right? Georgia Southern, which is one that I've talked about with people.
Vanderbilt
not to disrespect. Yeah, Vanderbilt.
What's my strength of schedule? Just to
you have one of the hardest, actually, Peter.
I think
you have one of the hardest strength of schedules. Yeah, I was telling this to you.
I'm not bad. Everyone's just really good.
No, you are. You have the 5th hardest schedule in the league, though. Let's be real.
I've also my team when I decided. Oh, okay. My team when I decided that I want to try and now.
Look at this fucking Excel wizard over here, pissing all over the numbers.
I mean, let's be real. It's hardest strength of schedule, 96th in win percentage, 80th in all play, 78th in points scored. Can't win a game in a row to save his life. Conference records, horseshit. Previous ranking. Oh, you went up in ranking.
You went up. You did good.
But I
mean, look, strength of schedule obviously does suck for you, though. I do think this is interesting because if you can see here, kudos to Cal, whose team I've always said is better than it seems like on paper. You can see he's got the 8th hardest schedule. Kudos to Hawaii because he's got the hardest strength of schedule and he's still being ranked. So respect that, right? Benny's, of course, up there, too. I mean, you have according to your formula, which it's not even messing with you have the 4th hardest schedule. And you're a top 10 team, which is pretty impressive, right? I mean, And going down a little bit, I mean, Ed is a newcomer there at the Indiana Hoosiers. Ed, you have had the 14th hardest schedule so far in strength of schedule. And you're a newcomer to this league. You're a newcomer to fantasy baseball to an extent. So that's pretty fucking awesome on you to keep your team afloat the way you have. And I believe he's qualifying for conference tournament right now.
You're talking about like conference, like power, Pac-12, Big Ten, Pac-12, Pac-12, Big Ten.
Yeah.
12, Big Ten, Pac-12, Pac-12. I don't know where Gonzaga is. Pac-12, Pac-12, Big Ten, 10.
That's how it works. That's exactly what
I mean. I get it, right? Like they are, but it shows.
Also, one that I want to point out there too, the Bryant Bulldogs right there from the Big East. You can see that. So in like 23rd highest schedule, you can see that they're 56th in points. They should not be. They're obviously having it kind of rough. Like I do think that they're having like a little bit of bad luck, and their team is better. I was facing them last week, man. I was looking at their squad. I'm like, this makes no sense that they're actually not. Yeah, their squad is stacked.
I look at it, and I like every time I like just am clicking through. I'm like, what? Why? How? Huh? Like, he can't even do it. Like, he can't mess it up. He can't
do anything different, right? Like he sends out the stars every week, and it's great.
And it's just like, oh, this guy sucks this week. Got it. And then he'll have a great performance, and he'll get countered out by 2 bad, and you're like, oh, well, that's stupid too.
And there's me down there. I'm right in the middle of everything. 43rd strength of schedule, 47th in points. So top 50 in points, and on the like middle-ish end on.
Yeah, you got solid 40s around the board, my guy.
I'll take that.
But
I'll take that for now, because if I'm not dropping out of like this top 50 area, there's time for me to make a run when my guys come back. So that means I have to keep trading for people and make the 8 seed. Got to make it happen. I've already told Peter that God forbid that the conference rankings stay the same and I have to face Luke in the beginning of the conference tournament as like an 8-1 thing. That's going to be just fun for the sake of dragging him on the pod and making him try to wrestling promo me. Yeah. Are you a wrestling guy, Benny?
Not really, no.
Ever? No?
No.
If I asked you to cut a promo, would you be able to do that? Like, not now, but I'm saying if I gave you time, would you be able to trash talk somebody?
Sure.
All right, good. That's good to know. It'll be good to know. When we get down to conference tournament time, it's going to be required, especially if you continue to stay hot. So
I can do that.
Now we've got Mr. Pink saying Bryant was in my preseason top 3 with Indiana State and Illinois State. Yeah, Bryant was a big top team for me. They were a top 10 team. No problem. So there was for me, that was one of those things where I always thought I had Bryant ahead of myself in the beginning of the year easily. And I thought they were going to be one of the better teams in the Big East. I ranked Luke because I believed in him, but it was one of those things where I thought Bryant was going to be the best team. I thought he had prepped his team really well for this year. And I was surprised that it hasn't piled up. Bryce from Illinois State. So I'll have to ask this to Benny when he comes back, but he says, curious what Oregon State likes for his eye test, though since I'm lower in that, I have Oregon State as a top 2 team in my eye test, completely different team after week 3. So I'll ask him, Bryce, in a bit when he comes back, because I saw that too. I think you're ranked 3, but he has you eye test 5. And it is something I'll want to bring up. I'll bring this back up in the meantime while Benny stepped away, because I am curious to know what his logic is for that. But I don't know if you saw the early part of the show, but you were a point of discussion. I was discussing Illinois State earlier in the show specifically because it just came down to me saying that I think that the top scorer in points not getting a first place vote is an interesting point of discussion. And if I had been able to vote this week, that you would have been my number 1 team. But I also don't consider the wins and losses as much as some other people, because I think that's a facet of what's in front of you. So that's what led into the spreadsheet discussion. And when we bring him back, we'll get to figure it out. Ms. Frank says Benny accepts news for higher rankings. I cannot confirm or deny that. I can't speak for him. So I appreciate the level. It's a respect thing. For me, I know that these are supposed to mimic the real rankings, and maybe that's where I come off sounding dumb, because like college sports are obviously, as we have ad nauseum discussed on this show, not an area of expertise for me, as I am still learning things about college and sports and college sports together. So the ranking system, in a way, I know is supposed to be based on momentum and feelings and things like that. It's like when MLB releases power rankings, and it's not just the team with the best record, it's also like streaks and momentum. And I get that. But it's just at the end of the day, if this is fantasy baseball and it's based on that. Benny, you got a question while you were away. But
yeah,
I'm just talking about the rankings with Bryce. But so Bryce, Illinois State asked him, because he was looking at your spreadsheet. So I don't know if you want to bring it back up. But you said, curious to you what Oregon State likes for his eye test, though, because I'm lower in that. I have Oregon State as a top 2 team in my eye test right now, completely different team after week 3 or so. So I think he ranks 3, but I think you eye tested him to 5. So I believe you wanted to just ask you what you thought about that.
I mean, again, a lot of it goes into the fact, like, injury. I don't know if he heard me talk about injuries, but like when you look at alone, he's got, and I get it, they haven't contributed yet this year and whatnot, but it's been consistent since the beginning of like he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pitchers on IR and 4 bats. So again, like, is it irrelevant? Probably. Does it matter? Probably not. But I think, like, I just put it in there because when you look at like the teams above them, they don't have a list that long. And I mean, I don't look at the names. I just make sure they're not minors because I think it's irrelevant. And then that's just kind of what I think. I guess that's kind of where I look at the eye test. And then I also just look at like how they have performed. And obviously, like, he stays really high with teams having less on IR. Like, I have 5 people on IR, 6 people on IR, but he outscores me consistently all the time. So he's always going to stay higher.
Jim, by the way, I'm leaving this up for a bit because he says he's going to go ahead and change the rankings while he's still awake. So we love that. Thank you for that. This is him commenting, by the way, about, as we're talking the top 25 stuff. He says, I just got in. I tracked top 25 in points, giving the top team 25 down to 25th, which gets 1. I track losses versus league average and division and give 5 extra points for continuing to be undefeated. So, I mean, I love I think this was a point of discussion with Rhode Island and Mr. Pink in the Discord, and I just want to say I really appreciate the voting discussion because I don't think there's necessarily a wrong way to do this outside of, Chris, when he put Florida International on there, and it's now the 128th team out of 128 teams. That's the only wrong way to vote in the top 25. But I really like the diversity in voting. Like, I like that you have an algorithm in the spreadsheet. I like that Baylor has one. I like that Duke has one. I like that even this is a type of a formula that Jim's got set up there, right? In terms of, hey, I'm ranking you 25 down to 1. I give you a point system. And there's some people who just do it strictly on points for. I love that happens because I want this to be a thing. I want there to be diversity in voting, and I want people to get credit and their teams to be highlighted who may not get highlighted because they don't talk much. I feel the need to have to talk about the Seton Hall Pirates because Luke doesn't come on the pod anymore. He hates us. So somebody should talk about the Seton Hall Pirates and the fact that they're undefeated and he's turned it around. Or Cal Poly, who we got a good logo for finally too. They're a great team. They were able to turn Memphis's abandoned team and husk of a fantasy owner from somebody into a contender. But yeah, I want to be able to talk about these teams. I'm always happy to see. And like, I want to drag some of these people on the pod too. Like, I want to drag on UTSA. UTSA doesn't talk, right? I mean, I want to bring them on and get them to say some words and trash talk a little bit. We got a little bit from Minnesota earlier. And so I hope that he gets to see that he got ranked. And, Jim, by the way, saying in that case, William and Mary will always be number 1, coming from the Chris Cardona School of Voting over at Florida International Panthers. The Florida International College, by the way, hired the guy on the White Sox who led them to the worst season in baseball history, so that was fun. Mr. Frank says, some IL guys are different than others. An IL Scubal or Crochet is different than the IL stash of Bonin Francis or Tommy Edman. I mean, yeah, I think that goes without saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. 1,000%. I mean, correct.
I don't think IL stashing.
I'm not I guess I'm not disagreeing with that. I kind of said it was semi-flawed, but it's just one thing for me that I use of like, because all of a sudden, like Illinois State, those guys are going to come back and his, the eye test number is going to go up. It's not the only thing I put into it. Like, I also just look at overall, right? Like, I think he's the best team that isn't like the best undefeated, non-undefeated team, especially if you take out like not counting North Colorado. Because I mean, when you look at when I have them ranked as their all play record, like I don't think they fall. I think they're like middle of the pack. Yeah, they're 20th or 19th, right? So it means I think they would have lost a fair amount of games against the top teams.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I put into the fact if they're close, I put into the fact like, Illinois State's 5-3 against the top two teams. But again, he's a good
he
team.
himself is saying, by the way, he wouldn't have ranked himself number one. So reading it out here, Bryce says, for what it's worth, I wouldn't have put myself number one. Big thing come tourney time is consistent high point totals, which wins can help represent. Losses potentially indicate volatility, where postseason needs consistency. See, I agree with that, except for being the number one point scorer. For me, I think the idea is that if you're the number one point scorer after 8 or 9 weeks, you have reduced some volatility. Because even if you have better weeks than others, it means that you are consistently like really putting out good numbers. Big scoring volatility teams relying on pitching can be great to pop a big upset. That can also get you killed. You want a squad without a ton of variance that's always in a position to win. Absolutely correct. That's not like the thing that we talk about in this league. I joked a lot about it being a pitching dominant league, which is hilarious because Ash hates pitching in fantasy. But if you stack yourself up with aces, you give yourself a good shot. Yes, but it's shown that there's a lot of teams this year that are winning with guys that might seem a little bit piecemeal together. And I respect that as viable. I mean, Ed was talking about that with his own team, that he's just throwing names out there and he's making it work. And sometimes it works exactly that way. I mean, I'm going to see if I can get to share a screen here. I'm going to look at some of these guys' teams.
Look at my team. It's not like super great. Like the pitching is good, but like I was also relying on McGreevy and Clay Holmes and what's his name? Joey Cantillo and, these other guys for a little while I traded for guys.
I mean, let's take a look. So if we look at the undefeated teams, I mean, we have to give respect to the fact. Can you guys see this okay? Should I zoom in a little bit? Do you want me to zoom in a little?
Just back to Bryce's point of like the high volatility. Zoom in a little bit.
Okay.
That's kind of what like one of my things with Duke has been, and I take it into account in pieces of it is like he's beat the league average by 30 points twice, but also led the league in points. So it's a very so it's like
you're good.
Can you guys hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah. No, I was just saying like Duke, for example, like beat the league average by twice, like by 30 points twice. And then, has led the league in points a few times. So it's just that really high volatility of like could very easily just lose to league average and a team and go from there.
So the 4 undefeated teams remaining with respect to them, Illinois, Arizona State, Seton Hall, and Northern Colorado Bears. So the WCC, the Big East, the Pac-12, and then Illinois is over in, help me here, guys, because I don't college. The Big Ten. So you've got Big Ten, Pac-12, Big East, and WCC. I've got the 4 undefeated teams.
Yeah.
And then we've got, 5 one-loss teams, Vanderbilt, South Alabama, Indiana State, Cal Poly, and Maryland. And you can see just on here, this isn't organized, but there is a disparity on the screen here, of course, in who's faced what points against. I mean, you can see here one-loss team, Vanderbilt. That's one of the reasons I asked about it. Under 12,000 points, so they faced about 6,000 points on the regular. And you can see right here, 1,000 more, so even than 500, 600 more points that these guys have faced. Illinois, Arizona State, even Seton Hall, and Maryland. Northern Colorado Bears, this might also come into record as to why some people a little bit less that they face in terms of competition. But Delaware, of course, here also one-loss teams. So these are our, it's 6. It's 6 one-loss teams. I apologize.
I mean, so for example, Vanderbilt, you're talking about a team that has luck on his side. League average sits around 730 to 750.
Mm-hmm.
And his opponent, I get it, he's scoring points too, but his opponent is also averaging 750 points a week. So, like, He's literally just have to beat league average. That's it.
Yeah, so you look at his top point scorers here. I mean, he does have some. He has some heavyweight names here. He's got C.J. Abrams. He's got Vlad Guerrero. He's got Julio Rodriguez, Pico Armstrong, and Sal Stewart, who's having an amazing year. Right, no bench because his bench looks to be all on the IL. But Jeffers was hitting really well beforehand, as was Jung Hoo. Well, Jung Hoo Lee was hitting okay, not really great. Jeffers was, and a full minor league squad. Guy who pays attention to his team. We like that. But yeah, I mean, you can really see. I mean, so Sal Stewart. Let's see if I can just get that up. Yeah, so he is clearly and because this is fully organized.
It doesn't separate the arms.
Nah, I can't really do that because the arms are down here. So I'd have to go down and see.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's a Reds fan. But he's got a lot of Cincinnati power going over here.
Fan. I think his name is Vodomatic.
Oh, this is Vodomatic, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So Abrams, of course, and Sal Stewart are doing some really heavy lifting. I mean, to put that in perspective, I just want to show some people here as to how good those guys are doing. Let's do players. Let's change that to all. So on the hitting side, this is what we're looking at so far as we're approaching our halfway point on the season. These are your most productive hitters. I mean, I'll tell you right there, I wouldn't have necessarily expected Tarang and Pajes to be guys who were up here amongst the Ohtani and the Jordan Walker is an interesting one right off the bat. But I wanted to do this to point out how good that C.J. Abrams has been. You can see here, by the way, the ageless Mike Trout, who people have written off. But here's some interesting ones.
Written off until he gets hurt. Like, let's be quiet. He's good when he's healthy. He's just going to miss a half the season.
Right, but so far he hasn't.
True.
You know, like, because I'll tell you, this might be on here too. I don't know where he is on the list, but I've had this conversation with people about like Byron Buxton. I'm going to check. He's probably on like the second page.
Yeah. He's going to get hurt. I'm just waiting.
Everyone says he's going to get hurt, but I mean, he's gotten 200 at bat so far, which is pretty much around what you need from that guy. And he is outdoing a lot of guys. But going back to this, the reason I mentioned that was Abrams, because as you can see, Abrams is right now close to the top 5 player offensively.
I sit and look at this and I kind of like get pissed because I trade so much, right? I'm an idiot. But like, I've owned James Wood. I've owned Nick Kurtz, owned Murakami, CJ Abrams, Matt Olson, Schwarber, Jordan Walker, Tarang. Like, I'm just like,
I mean, I can go further down. You know, I moved Miguel Vargas. Miguel Vargas is one of the best players in the league. Right?
Yeah, I mean, he is. You traded him to me, I think, right?
Yes, I did.
It makes up for the case.
It does. So shut up. Sal Stewart is already here. I mean, this is where you got guys over here 420. I mean, go Reds, but 420 here from Sal Stewart. So these are guys on the first page here in terms of him. And so that's a big deal in terms of the guys carrying your squad. They're outperforming Julio and Vlad by 100 each. And in the case of CJ Abrams, I mean, almost 200 points. Right. Ryan Jeffers was having a great season up to this point. He was really performing. And a lot of it else here. I mean, you wouldn't have necessarily expected Bregman and Devers to be this close to fucking, JJ Bleday. That's another one that I don't even want to talk about. And 98 at bats, by the way. Look at that. That's insane. But Matt McClain, he's got really, he is clearly a Cincy fan. Good for him. He gets to have his team on here and just enjoy them. Marcelo Mayer is hurt and doing nothing. And switching over to the pitching side, Chase Burns and Jose Siriano. Cade Smith, Jeffrey Springs, nice little guy, but this is not a pitching dominant team. I mean, there are guys on the IL, obviously, as you can see. You've got Hunter Green here. You've got Rhett Lauder here, who was pitching okay. Cole Reagans and Logan Webb, who was expected to do better. But at the end of it, I mean, you're being led by Burns and Soriano. Burns is having an amazing season, and Soriano's having an amazing season. So not the guys you would have expected to carry your team, but they are.
I mean, I feel like Chris did a really good job last year, kind of just proving. Well, yeah, we all agree pitching is, the biggest way to get huge points in this league. But
it's also a good way to
be a great team. Yeah, you can be a great team and just have good hitting. That's allowed.
I mean, Illinois, like, go to the – thank you. Like, look at Illinois.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. I'm like, let's go to. So, if we look at the top teams in hitting here, Illinois is doing it with the bats. There you go. I mean, they're the top, and these are the as per your request too, Benny. These are the ones that are split in half, so it's not showing the
easier math for me.
Yeah. It's amazing to have the Excel guys who can't do divided by 2, but
I can. They just do it for me.
Well, that's great for you.
And I married a math teacher for a reason.
That's good for you. Very nice. Showing off your marriage and math skills and all that. Anyway,
I don't have them. Fuck.
So you can see here there's 4 teams that are over 5,000 in hitting points right now. That's North Texas, Indiana State, the Illinois State Redbirds, and Illinois Fighting Illini or something of that nature. And you can see very quickly right over here, this is not necessarily the most dominant pitching team. Just to switch over and show you, Penn State has the most dominant pitching side. Duke has over 5,000. That's pretty much all from Jacob Mizorowski, so don't be impressed. Benny over here with the third most, right, in pitching. And there you go. So Bryce having such a balance right here because he's number 4 in pitching. And on the hitting side, if you go back,
he's up at the top of the hitting.
Did I just, he's number 2, right? Yeah, yep. So 2 and 4. Yep. Yeah, 2 and 4, which, I mean, it speaks to the fact it's number 1 team, so it's not surprising. But 1 second, let me just fix this.
I was going to say something for Bryce. I was just talking about this with someone who when they were talking about the Matt Gore and Jesus Luzardo trades, like the great hitting definitely gives you the floor. And I think you need like 1 or 2 aces you can count on in the playoffs to like win you, just to get you 50, 60 points. But then like you also have like, I don't know, you have to have those Luzardo guys, but I think they have to be like your 7th to 10th best pitchers. They can't be your 3rd or 4th because they're volatile, right? Like they could go -30 or they could go 70. And if you catch them on a heater, you're going to win a few games in the playoffs. But at the same
No, you're 100% right. It's interesting to see. Let me see on the pitching side. You've got, these are the worst teams in pitching. Some of these guys not even trying, but if I remember correctly, Columbia is one of those teams that really, really high on pitching, kind of abandoned the hitting a little bit. They're still scoring enough, but they struggle there. You can see on the pitching side, it's pretty much all competing teams, which is what I think is interesting. Like Penn State, Duke, yourself, Benny, Illinois State, Georgia, Hawaii, Minnesota, Columbia, Maryland, Arizona State. So all of these guys down to Portland and even further, right, Chris? Portland State, Cal Poly, North Texas, top 20 Pirates, the Bearcats, Vanderbilt, North
Villanova would be the first one that's like up there that's in the 50s, right?
Right. That's not like really competing or pushing. This is why I talk about like a pitching dominant league.
Like I think they were 8-0 at one point.
Mm-hmm. The guys who have the most pitching are the ones who are pushing for it. You can see the rankings based on where they wins and losses, but these are all competing and big pushing teams. And outside of Villanova, 38, 31, 23, like these are Fantrax rankings, but these are all competing teams down to like, Rice and things like that. And I think Rice is still pushing anyway. So you have all that, but on the hitting side, you have some guys that put together some decent teams that have nothing on the pitching side, just to show you all for reference's sake. And there we go. So Illinois being number 1, Illinois State 2, Indiana State, North Texas, Cal Poly. Yeah, these are all competing teams too. Wayne State Warriors has almost 5,000 points from their hitting, but they have less than 2,000 on their pitching side. I just want to take a look at this team just because now.
Yeah, we love Wayne State. He's the Wayne State Gentleman of the Year award.
The Wayne State Gentleman of the Year award named after Jack T from Wayne State. I'm pulling this up slowly because my computer might be just giving up on life now. Oh, there we go. Man.
Patience, bro.
I got none of that, baby. I got ADHD all day. All right, so the pitching side, not a full side on the minors. So if you're listening out there, Wayne State, take my advice and pick up some guys from the minors, even some bullpen guys. Now, he does have some guys on the IL, but it's Verlander and Scherzer, Quintana. Reese Olson won't be back till next year.
I
Louder gave
mean
him
this in the
something.
nicest way, but he might have the most age on the IL.
He does also have guys that were negative for the season on the IL, so these might be benefiting him.
43, 41, and 37. The combined age of those three on the IL is impressive.
Yeah, this is an older. Let me organize this by points. It looks like he's also not setting a full lineup, in which case, Wayne State, do your thing, man. How are you nearly 5,000 in points here?
I think he just benches the players that don't have games.
That's fair. That's probably because he does. But this is rough. I mean, you have Gavin Williams, which is, and that's it.
Cade Smith, who's saving all of Gavin Williams' wins.
This is a great strategy here. I mean, I respect it. It's a tough one too, because I mean, Gallen's been lit up. Sisk has been pitching well, but I don't know if he's switching him in and out, but he has been pitching pretty decently. Hudson's been pitching decently. It's just there's a lack of just about anything here. And then look at the hitting side. Well, Yordan Alvarez, Matt Olson, Kevin McGonigal, Brian Buxton, and of course, as everyone predicted, Ildemaro Vargas to have a career year. That was an easy one. Everybody knew that he was going to be great. And Dylan Dingler, Merrill, I feel like he could definitely have balanced some of this out. You know, he's got Carpenter on the IL, but somebody might take him for pitching. He's got some prospects here. He's got Bryce Rainier. Arelis needs to be released. Ivan Melendez needs to be released, but you know, we'll see. But he's got some guys here. I can see where the hitting has come from, but it's just the pitching has been completely and utterly non-existent for him. That's one of the lowest pitching in the league, I would say.
Hold on. Can you go out? Never mind.
I'll go back, but yeah, he's one of the like 15th or 16th in pitching for the year. That's rough. What did you want to see here?
Just go back right above Wayne State. Look at Hawaii. Look at Hawaii's points. They're like 45 points difference.
Yep. Hawaii has, I would say, yeah, and I think that's a brilliant thing. You know, to speak to what Bryce was saying before, I mean, hypothetically, that is a really, really good way to have things running because, sorry, I was on Butler, but yeah, this is almost identical.
Arizona State, same thing.
Yep, great strategy there. The balance is really good. I mean, and these are the top in hitting.
If he would have played me like week 5, 6, 7, he'd have 2 loss for sure. That's all I got.
You've got some balances amongst some other guys here, like Florida State, who was real pushing before. They're pretty close. My own team, which I think would be a little bit more even if my guys weren't hurt all the fucking time, but different story. But another thing, I just want to see this games played. How much is 487? That's funny for him and Creighton down there in Georgia. These guys are uber tanking.
Yeah.
Yeah, top games played. The Jaguars and the Redbirds here with the most games played, meaning they're switching their guys in and out and doing what they can. Mr. Pink has talked about that strategy. Texas A&M doing something similar, but to a much different accord. Illinois doing it right. Northern Colorado doing it right. These guys kind of switching around here.
I think though, like when you look at South Bama, Illinois State in games played, that really comes like. And then Texas A&M, for example, right? Like they're all relatively close, but one is not like the other, and you can tell that like
right there,
quality still matters.
Yeah, because you can see here. I mean, look, he's getting on average per game 9.17, right? 6 here. This is a huge gap when you think of over the 1,100 game sample size, right?
Bryce has got to have the most, right?
It's actually not. It's Penn State. Which means that Penn State's the most efficient, then Illinois, and then Duke, Columbia.
Go look at from just week 1, just week 1 in general, because the scoring was so wild. Go look at the points per game week 1 and how it's like leveled out. I was just looking at this the other day. Like the hitting was outrageous week 1. I know there was a few extra games.
You talking about like this? Like the overall or the points per game?
Yeah, the points per game. I mean, like,
yeah, this is
13, 12. It's crazy. And I get it all gets leveled out in time and it's a small sample size, but it's so funny. You see it like, jeez.
Curious about this points per game thing too as well, like on the larger scale again. I'm going to bring that back up. I'll let it load. It's going to take me a second. So we got a lot of the best teams are right up here. Kudos to Columbia, who is not ranked anymore, but 8.66 points per game. It's because
that tracks though, because the pitching, like you're going to get less games just generally.
Correct. They're more of a pitching based team, which we know. Yeah, this is kind of going to go in hand with the guys who have really good pitching staffs.
But if you go to the lower ones, take out the take out the bad, the teams.
Everything's on Chris.
But like, if you scroll down, like, who's the first team not in the hundreds? Just scroll down from where you're at on that ranking.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Well, let's not count LSU because 98, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like the first team that's
Rutgers.
Rutgers, Texas A&M, but that's like strictly off of hitting. So that makes sense. 1,100 games, 6 points a game, all hitting.
Rutgers continues to be. They're just struggling, rough guys. 3,600 from hitting. Mainly Juan Soto. William Mary down here.
Mainly Liam Hicks.
Mainly Liam Hicks. That's right. I don't see here. And Bryce saying, agreed with that. Need your certified studs. It'll give you 25 to 75 every night. Don't want a bunch of Luzardos and Frambers that are negative 50 to 75. I hate Framber Valdez so much. I can't stand him. I will continue to piss me off always.
Do we want to, let's see, it's 10:20. Do we want to wrap this beast up? Do we got anything else?
No, this was going to be it. I just wanted to take a look at the standings like I was and just take a bet.
Think of, is there any like good trades that went down this week?
There might have been, but I didn't want to push you guys on them.
Just terrible trades.
Just terrible trades.
North Colorado made one today. South Florida with Kyle Tucker from Michael Harris and Justin Martinez.
Yeah, that Kyle Tucker trade did go on. I think that was interesting. It's a real belief in Michael Harris. So just down through here. Nothing I don't think we needed to discuss. I was going to do the trades, but I don't want to push you guys to it. And I want to talk about the Buttermaker, but the Buttermaker, let me close this out and go back to here. The Buttermaker is not what do you call it? It's not updated right now. So the Buttermaker is still showing zeros on the board, but we can check an update on that next week when it gets uploaded. We'll be able to look at results. So we'll talk about that next week.
No, can we talk about the good old St. Mary's here real quick? They made a trade with my great friend Rhode Island for, I believe this is a senior.
Oh, by the way, I traded Grisham for Austin Riley. I don't know if anybody is upset or bothered by that. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just legitimately don't know. I mean, Grisham produces to some extent. Austin Riley's having down years. So, I mean, I would take Austin Riley.
No, like, so J.R. Ritchie has struggled after his debut, but like still a spec, still like a decent piece. This Braden Nett, I think, is a decent piece as well. I mean, depending where you look, he's not horrible.
Mm-hmm.
We moved J.R. Ritchie and Braden Nett for a senior Bryce Miller, which feels like a quite expensive pay for I get it's an arm, but it feels expensive. Am I wrong in feeling that way?
Rhode Island really likes Bryce Miller.
Okay.
He's always liked Bryce Miller a lot. This has just come up in our personal discussions because last year I had Bryce Miller and he was trying to get him from me for a while. But do you feel like the Ritchie and the Net is an overpay for Miller, or what are you saying exactly?
I feel like to pay those two pieces for a senior arm is very expensive.
I don't think so at all. I have to be honest, because I don't think those are expensive pieces. I just don't. I think they're fine prospects, but I've talked about this a lot, and I do talk about it when we talk about trades. Bryce was like, I traded Austin Riley for Grisham, and this is because Bryce had needed an outfielder because I think he made a deal with Rutgers where he sent over Teoscar Hernandez, but and then Teoscar Hernandez got like hurt right off that. Yeah, that was really. I think some of these guys have some inside information.
That's really cool.
They have inside information, Peter. You know, like Benny will trade you guys that will suck or get hurt, and Illinois State did the same thing with you. Sent you to Yoskar knowing ahead of time he was going to get his hamstring hurt. It was terrible. It was really messed up what they did.
That's all right. We're just waiting for that. Davis.
I'm thinking Rhode Island is hoping to acquire guys to flip for more at the deadline. I don't think he's trying to compete, so acquiring a hold and flip for guys he likes more. In being transparent with you, Bryce, I agree with you because he has sold off guys that he would have needed to compete this year, and I think that he doesn't feel like he's going to push this year. And he looks around at the bottom, like the bottom of the Big East Conference comes down to like Oneonta, myself, Bryant, and him. And 2 are going to make it, 2 aren't. And I think that he's kind of decided he should save the assets for next year when he has more options and get the guys that he likes. And at the same time, finishing 9th in a conference, if you know what you're doing, might be an easy route to the NIT. Chuck proved that last year when he went ahead and acquired at the deadline, even though people thought he was going to sell. And he ran roughshod through the NIT and had a great grand time just taking advantage of guys who weren't setting their lineups. So, you know, there's no harm in just kind of picking the low-hanging fruit and run roughshod through the NIT if he does make that maneuver.
I think, like, my counterpoint, though, like, what I'm trying to overall, J.R. Ritchie, literally a week before that, he sent out sophomore Gavin Williams, or was it a junior, Gavin Williams, for J.R. Ritchie and Ethan Salas.
Right.
So, like, moved to and Anderson Brito. I don't know shit about Anderson Brito. He could be really good. But like you moved off of a sophomore good asset, borderline, I mean ace level arm for a senior and traded 1/3 of your return away plus more.
I think he also traded away Salas to Peter, no?
Yeah, that I don't know. But again,
he did, right? Peter, you got Salas from him, right?
I got Salas from somebody. I don't know. All these.
Yeah, he might have also just caught Benny disease, you know, where he just wants to trade and it gets him off at night. You don't know what you started, Benny. You know, you've created a lot of Benny clones now, and it's a problem in the league, and this is tough.
Well, speaking of trades, I got a trade off during the show. You guys want to talk about it, or is that uncouth?
Depending on who it is, because if it'll probably piss them off, and if I don't mind pissing them off, I'll talk about it. But if I don't mind pissing them off. But no, I don't think you want to talk about it openly. You don't seem like the type of guy to openly discuss a trade offer in the middle of what could be 100 people watching. Half the league will watch. So
11. It's 11.
It's 11 right now, but by the way, Bryce apologized about Oscar. It shows like 11 to 20 right now, but remember that a lot of the guys, we end up getting like 70 to 90 views every week because the guys end up going to watch it back on replay. It just went up, by the way. Ash probably logged on. But it's no, I didn't expect to go longer than like the hour and a half tonight, by the way, because since it was short notice, I didn't put any of the trade stuff together. The Buttermaker stuff we'll discuss next week, since it's the first week of the Buttermaker. We'll have the results and we'll kind of go through them and the new matchups. But I will revisit that trade. I'm actually looking at it on Discord now.
We all laugh about a trade that I was making fun of Matt from Arizona State about earlier. There was a Max Fried trade once he got hurt on May 16th that he traded to South Carolina, and he traded I don't know how to say his name, Pepoy or Pepiot and Fried for Lodolo and Henderson, and 3 of the 4 guys are on the IL.
This has been a rough year for injury. Is it just me, or has it been a rougher year than normal for injury?
I think it's all just happened like when you look at the injuries. I think the first few weeks were good, and then I think like it's just they've gone down fast.
Right, like it feels like all of nowhere, like all of a sudden, right? It's just kind of been a thing.
Now I haven't looked at it at all to see if any of these guys did play in the WBC, and I love the WBC. I think it's great, but could that be a factor?
No.
Okay.
I mean, like, Skubal pitched 3 innings and got hurt.
Okay. But then I look at someone like Nolan McLean. Granted, he's not hurt, but if you look, his pitching arm slot went down like 13 degrees, and that's a sign of either fatigue or hurt.
Well, that's also because the Mets pitching coach is stupid. That's a different story, because David Peterson also regressed. Pretty much everybody regressed for a bit until they started figuring, like, David Peterson regressed, Kodai Senga regressed. Like, pretty much everybody has looked worse under this regime. The weird thing is that our pitching hasn't even been that bad. It's the fact that we can't hit for shit. But of course, I mean, that's what happens when you fire Eric Chavez.
I think it's I think it's a convenient excuse, and not an excuse like, oh, you guys suck, but I think it's just a convenient excuse for, I mean, McLean's still young. Like, he's still just adapting to things and mechanics. They were talking about that with Jordan Walker. You know, he came up as this top prospect, and then he got to the bigs and he was trying to adjust, and he got rocked. He struggled and he made a few bad adjustments, and no one coached him and corrected it. And then they brought a new hitting coach, and now they corrected it. So I think.
So you're agreeing with me, right? Like the Mets just need to fire their pitching coach and get a new coach because the talent is there.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm also agreeing with the fact that, like, or disagreeing with the fact that, like, I don't know if the WBC really plays that big.
I don't think it's a big factor because a lot of this stuff happened during spring training, and I feel like it's just casual innings for them. Like, Skubal was going to throw his innings at spring training if he didn't throw them at the WBC. So I don't look at it so bad as like the WBC, but I do think that some of these guys are very susceptible to changes in coaching and regime. And, you know, certain, like Skubal's injury, I think it was almost a matter of time. I mean, he throws so fucking hard and he basically chipped his own elbow for loose bodies. I mean, that's just the fact. You know, like for me, it makes sense that was just a matter of time. And it's sort of the same thing.
I hate to say it on the Brewers fans. Like, I hope it's just a loose body. I hope it doesn't happen. But like Mizrowski, same thing, right? Like, I just feel like it's a coming of age thing for any pitcher. At some time, something's going to happen because
if Mason Miller wasn't a closer, it would have happened to him too. I actually had this discussion. When Mason Miller was a starter, he statistically had one of the highest likelihoods that he was going to have Tommy John, and that's part of the reason they turned him into a closer because they were like, look, you're going to blow out your damn arm, but you'll be an amazing closer, and they just kind of let it happen. Now he's elite, arguably the best closer in the entirety of baseball, while still throwing like 1-0. Yeah, I mean, like, I think I'll take him as the best closer in baseball. I would agree with that, but you know,
like, I don't know if there's much of an argument there. I think he is.
It can't be Edwin Diaz anymore. Plus, he's going to get arrested for cockfighting, so that's a whole different story. But you know, we are wrapping up here. Aroldis Chapman is really fucking good, and I think the arm of Aroldis Chapman, I think, is kind of the blueprint for somebody like Mason Miller. And weirdly enough, it could be a blueprint for Mizrowski, but as long as you can keep him as a starter, you should try. I get it because, like, you know, there are some people hoping that, like, essentially he could be like a Randy Johnson from the right-handed side because he's so big and like he's got the size. Maybe, who the fuck knows? I think that the logic points to the fact that he may have an arm injury, and I do not root for that because he's probably the most exciting pitcher in baseball right now, and I want him to succeed. But it's just scary because, again, like, Skubal was the pitcher of health, and you can look and you can see what happened here, and it almost feels like it comes for everybody.
You know who wasn't supposed to get hurt? Clay Holmes, because he doesn't throw hard.
Clay Holmes was not supposed to get hurt, and
Clay Holmes got hurt because of Spencer Jones.
Yeah, that's also the nature of, like, that pissed me off so much because Clay Holmes was pitching so well, and
that started it for me. You know, I didn't talk about it much, but that trade that got sent to Vito, so funny that literally I've had one start from that trade in 5 weeks.
Oh, that's why I didn't get vetoed. It was actually meant to, like, cause you trouble.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny though, because when you look at it, it's like immediately Crochet on the IL. Didn't even pitch. Literally got scratched, IL. And then Skubal threw, I think he pitched well, 48 points, 46 points. Then surgery. I was like, bah, nice. It vetoed itself.
He'll be back in time for when you need to. He'll be back in time. Don't worry.
Don't lie.
God help me. All right. What do you have for final thoughts for the evening, gentlemen? Peter, I'll go to you. If you would like to share anything at all, now is your time.
Well, I have two thoughts. One, I hate soccer now, but we don't need to get into that because this isn't a soccer show. Two, Spencer Jones is a sleeper agent. This motherfucker just gets called up, hurts Clay Holmes, and then gets sent back down. Like, we all know he sucks. He strikes out way too much. Like, fuck Spencer Jones. Am I right, guys?
No.
I agree with that. Benny, what do you got?
Why is Hawaii and I the only teams in the top 25 in scoring this week that are projected less than we were originally projected for this week.
What did you do?
I have no idea. We're just both in the red. Like I'm projected 1160, he's projected 1125, and it's down from where we originally were started on the week. Makes no sense. I got 21 starts, and all of them have been bad.
I don't think I don't think. Here's Jim's last take. Go Arsenal. Also, pickleball hurts sometimes.
Yo, Jim, I'm sorry. Jim, I got a text, and I was at a concert for my sister who was graduating, and I was like, oh, I should open this. And then I saw it was a video, and I was like, someone needs to send it to me later. So I got it sent to me, and I felt like, I just hope you're okay, because that's why I don't play pickleball.
I think there was a discussion yesterday about pickleball and athleticism and Rhode Island's promising tennis scholarship to Yale, which we're all rooting for, of course, except Duke. Yeah, you missed all that, Benny. I don't know if you.
I saw it.
You just elected not to discuss.
What?
You don't want to talk about tennis scholars? That's messed up, man. You got to support the people in the CBL. You got to be more supportive. But yeah,
because Benny gets lots of support from the CBL.
I don't even care about the support.
He cares about Rhode Island. I like the very much the like.
Like, what?
God, my final take. I joked on it before, so I'll give a serious comment. Hey, if your minor leagues, your slots are not full, we have 8 copies of every minor league eligible player out there. If you need help finding guys, there's JT. You know, Benny's DMs are open for you. Even if he doesn't like you, you can message him and be like, Benny, I want to pick up this guy. Ignore him. I want to pick up this guy. He's 3 of 8 owned. You know, like, what do you think about him? You're a prospect guy, Benny. Like, you can DM him and he'll give you an answer because he's that type of guy. So you can ask him. Yeah, you're Benny. So you can just ask any of these guys. Like, if you need help with the prospects, you can talk about JT and Ash and even me once in a while. You know, you can just
want to have the worst farm system in baseball.
And just go ahead and fill up your farm system. No, but legitimately, the advice here is to fill up your farm system because you never know when one of these guys is going to hit and it becomes a thing. Like, I picked up guys like Hartman, or I'll tell you one right now. Walbert Urena, I picked him up for free in the beginning of the season, and he has been useful to me. And I like Walbert Urena. So you never know when one of these guys is going to hit. You might as well fill up your prospect slots while you can. You have 10 acquisitions per week. You can get a lot of them for free.
Yeah, you heard it here first, guys. Graham wants you to fill your slots.
I disagree.
I think
you can sit around like 26 to 28 and be just
no.
Psychologically, if you have a full 30, you're just not going to be willing to accept them in a trade. If I have 26, I'm willing to accept it.
Well, I think I disagree with that, but I do think, because there is a lot, and we talked about it the last time I was on the show, people will move guys in and out. So if you're doing that, yeah, you need open spots. But like,
I don't know. I think you give yourself maybe a buffer of 2 max, but at the end of it, like you should be
26 to 28. So you're just choosing 28.
I'm okay with that, but I looked at Wayne States and he had like 5 spots open, and I'm like, you know, you can kind of maneuver around that. I think you should add some guys. There's addable guys every week. People, you can just message Benny and ask him who he's going to add. He'll tell you. You know,
I have too many prospects. Come talk.
I have 3 guys, but I also don't keep a full. I generally don't keep a full MLB roster. I try to stick at like 24.
But you switch guys in and out too, don't you?
I try to. It doesn't work well. I had Hunter Biggie win for -50.
Did you like jettison him off your roster?
I dropped him mid-inning. Also, because he was going to lose eligibility.
Because the way I look at it, though, like you're looking at it like, hey, you're willing, like not willing to necessarily take on a spec or something. I look at it as like, look, I just made a deal with Peter yesterday, right? I gave him a freshman pitcher and a prospect, and my logic was that part of that deal is me adding another prospect in that deal. I gave him a prospect, I added one already, and I'm like, okay, the way I look at that deal is that I got that prospect back in the deal. So I worked it out fine, in my opinion, because I didn't have to pay any fab for him. I knew it was going to be a 0 fab ad, and it was a guy that I wanted to get. I got him for 0 fab. I could tell you. Yeah, Ed is saying if you have 30, you can use specs to push small amounts of value on trade. I agree. I think that's important. I mean, I picked up, I'll be very transparent about it. Who did I pick up? I think Caden Hunter. I think I got Caden Hunter yesterday, who is going to be a guy that people are going to want to pick up in a bit. I can tell you that. and I got him for free. So I look at the deal as I got Caden Hunter back in the deal, and I was able to give Peter proper value. Let me just double check. Yes, I did get Caden Hunter, who's now 5 out of 8 owned, right? And so I look at it as that worked out fine for me. And as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to pick up somebody else. And if he turns into a guy, then I'll move him. So, I mean, that's just the way I operate.
Yeah, not going to lie. I just been picking up guys who are in the bigs and have minor eligibility. And when they run out, I drop them.
That's also okay. That's
because like
about Hunter Biggie.
I mean, like the reality is prospects are relatively easy to get. I think
so.
Like if Crochet comes back, like I'm not going to trade Crochet unless I want to. I love trading, but what I'm saying is like if he comes back and he's a true ace, and I just wanted prospects, I could go trade him for prospects. I can tell you there's about 40 teams that could want pitching. We see it every day, right? And if I didn't want major league pitching in return, I could just go get prospects.
I agree with that.
So like, I just feel like I can just rotate random, because if you don't have a top 15 prospect, you're hoping for a lottery ticket. And
I agree.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like you might get one. Like I picked up Tanner Franklin this year and he's a top 20. Keith Law has him top 25 now. But also,
I think it's okay to pick it up. I don't necessarily mean that you need to trade for prospects, but I think you should try to keep somewhere close to full as much as possible because you're missing out on potential value. That's my actual thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think I also have the entire Cardinals farm system because even if
you probably do
one of 8,
you probably fucking do. It's okay. For one point, Peter had like everyone in the Mets farm system, and I mean, it worked out to some extent for a bit. He got McLean out of it, so you know.
Side note: if anyone wants some of these fucking bum ass
Cardinals prospects,
no, these random minor leaguers that are like Drew Romo that are about to expire, just hit me up if you want a good catcher who's not really good but good enough, probably better than yours.
Probably better than yours. Wow, look at that. That's a way to sign off. All right, Oregon State.
All right, we'll see.
All right, so speaking on behalf of the Beavers and the Scarlet Knights and the Yukon Furries over here, because Ash isn't here, I've got to represent the Furries. You know, let's close out for the night. As always, thank you guys for listening. The bestdamnsports.com will take you right to our YouTube if you didn't click the link already. We love to have you on. If you want to be on, we'd love to have you on the voting panel. Well, thank you to all you guys sitting around and commenting and listening live. We appreciate you as always, and I look forward to the comments from the Peanut Gallery when Chris from California watches this later on his West Coast schedule and then tells us all we're full of shit.
So, one last thing before we sign off.
Yes.
One last thing.
Let's go Knicks! Let's go Knicks! Let's go Knicks! Let's go Knicks!
It was religious and necessary. It was like praying to my God. All right, folks. Good night. Take care. We'll see you next week.